Okay, it's been a week. Let's talk about what my Nike After Dark Tour Mexico City experience was like. Honestly. So this is gonna be yappy. But first, just to say this race was so amazing, and so I'm not complaining. I just want to honestly talk about what the experience was like. This was my 8th marathon. So I've done 4 full marathons. This was my 4th half marathon. I've probably done like a dozen to 15 like 5Ks, 10Ks. So I've done a lot of races over the years. This was Nike's first year doing the After Dark, and Mexico City was originally the last one, but then they added it on London. So I understand that this was the first year doing that, which is why I have no real complaints. But there were so many factors that obviously they couldn't control. I will say that this was my fault. I did not look at the course ahead of time, and I honestly was just a little bit disappointed with how boring the course was. If you've been to Mexico City, you know how beautiful this place is. There's so many statues and monuments and things around the city. Last August, I did the Mexico City full marathon. We literally ran by the Angel of Independence. We ran through so many cool areas, and I was just expecting something a little bit more, especially with it being a Nike-sponsored race. We met at Estadio de the Olympic Stadium, which is the same spot I met at for the full marathon, but the entire route was literally just around the stadium in parking lots. When I tell you all we saw was concrete, you would go up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill. And so the course itself could have been more creative. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty boring. And yes, it was at nighttime, but I really feel like we could have ran somewhere. And obviously 13.1 miles, you don't have the same like span as 26.2, but there were still some things in the area we could have ran through. So that was a little disappointing. The course itself was really tight. I felt like we were constantly like running over each other and weaving in and out, and there were some spots where we were literally just like squished shoulder to shoulder, and so I felt like the course itself was pretty tight. Now it was pouring rain the entire time, which obviously they can't control, but we were running through ankle deep puddles, and it was probably like 55 degrees, so it was so cold outside. I still had so much fun. The entire course had spectators almost at every single part. There was no like quiet or dead parts. There were lots of volunteers helping, and they would tell us like to watch out for the puddles and stuff. It was very well lit because again, we pretty much stayed in a parking lot, so the course was really well lit. There were plenty of like the Nike big orange signs. I think like every 2 kilometers there was a sign. There were like 2 big tunnels that we ran through, and there were some cool spots. I just think the course itself could have been better. After we finished, it was like really chaotic and a little bit disorganized, but also the fact that it was pouring down rain. I got my medal. So hats off for the medal. This is the most unique, creative, the coolest medal I've ever received. It is a custom waterproof, sweat-proof, like athletic necklace that clips on magnetically, and it's supposed to look like a Nike shoelace, and you can adjust it to be different heights. The necklace itself is beautiful. Now, it was pouring down rain. I couldn't feel my hands. I was like shaking, shivering. The necklace came in the most beautiful orange box that looks like a Nike shoe box. You guys have probably seen other people's videos. I was so like disoriented, and I was like, my phone wasn't working. I was trying to call my friend. I was just walking around. I couldn't feel my fingers. My box got soaking wet, so I ended up just throwing it away because it was just destroyed. So all I have to show for is the necklace, but overall, it was a fun race. I do think they could have been more creative with the course and things like that. It was just really tightly packed. I do feel bad for girls who it was their first half marathon, because I honestly think the course and the conditions were not the best for a first marathon, but definitely I would say the most unique race I've done. It was still so much fun. 10,000 women running through the night was absolutely amazing. I would do it again, but I would review the course before, and I know they have one more Nike After Dark this year in London, but overall I think the marketing, this entire concept was genius, and I hope they do it again next year. I am obsessed with this necklace. And yeah, basically that is my Nike After Dark experience.